Now today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to draw a little bush. If you've been following along with my tutorials, you'll know that we're slowly sort of just moving into different things, different easy simple things, all about basic shapes. And it just makes it so much easier if you can look at it and just sort of pick out shapes, because it can be a bit daunting trying to learn to draw. But as I say, today we're just going to be doing a small bush, and it's about putting on the foliage or drawing the leaves. Okay, so just join in, follow along, pause when you need to. You have to understand that in my tutorials or in my classes, these tutorials that I'm showing you now, they take an hour and a half, so we're sort of breaking it down to just over half an hour. So as I say, pause when you need to, and enjoy it. It's all about the journey, and most importantly, it's all about having some fun. Okay, now for today's tutorial, the equipment we're going to be using is, I'm going to be using my mechanical pencil, but you don't have to, it's just an HB. Just use an ordinary HB pencil. I'm using mechanical, and if you've got one, that's fine, use it. Yep, that's great. Now also I'm going to be using my a 4B, so that's quite a dark pencil, because we're going to be doing a bit of foliage, I just like it to be a little bit darker. But if you haven't got one, once again, your HB will be fine. Just push a little bit harder. But I suggest you get some more. You know, you can buy sets of pencils. They're not very expensive. Right. Then my pencil eraser. Yep, these are handy. They're not very expensive either. I mean, you know, if you're going to get into drawing, you need to get this sort of equipment, because it does make it a bit easier. And of course, then I've got my blending brush. It's just for doing the little subtle ones, and my blender, blending stump. And as I say, if you haven't got one of those, these are right, cotton buds. But you know, even these blending stumps, you can pick them up. Nothing's very expensive. That's the beauty of graphite drawing. Then I've got my brush for brushing away all the crumb. When you rub things out, it's very important to keep everything nice and clean, because smudge is so easy. And we will need a ruler. Well, we don't really need a ruler, but I use a ruler just to start, just to get the, you know, your bottom line, your ground line in place. My kneadable eraser, or in this case, blue tack. That's for putting in highlights and taking bits out, and yeah, it's good. That's really good, and you can shape it to whatever shape you want. And anyway, now I've also got an ordinary eraser, which is fine as well. I mean, really, it's just for taking out, you know, tidying things up. And you just use the edge, so, you know. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, as usual, is we're just going to draw a line. Just the ground line, so just across the page, just lightly. And because we're going to be drawing, it's not a tree as such, it's going to be like a bush. It's just to get a practice at drawing foliage. Now, what I suggest, because it's so easy to get things too big, and it pays just to start pretty small, and try and keep things in a contained area. So what I'm going to suggest is that we don't want to go any more than, say, 6 centimeters from the line to there, and that's going to be the top of our little bush. All right, and probably the same thing would apply. Would go, let's just say, that's sort of like the center there, and out. I don't want to, yeah, okay, so that's the center sort of thing. So we're going to go down the bottom here, let's say 2.5, 5. So we sort of want to contain our little bush within this area. It doesn't matter if you go over a little bit. It's just a guideline to keep you in the picture, sort of, so to speak. You know what I mean? So we're just going to go, and we start at the top, and I'm just going to do, it's not a circle or ellipse, it's just like make like a little cloud like shape. And then we're going to do another one like this. And we'll put one out here like that. It's just an outline. You know, a guide. Yeah. Okay. Now, because when you look at a bush or a tree or something, in most cases, you'll find that they are little clusters. Like if you look at your fingers and think that those are the branches, then on the branches you've got other branches, and you've got leaves and things like that, and they're sort of behind each other, and that's how they are. So when you're looking at here, that's what they sort of are. There's branches in here holding all these up, but you can't see them because of the leaves. Alright, so we start with the first one, and we're going to be using just little circular motions, just very lightly. You call them like little, some people call them little scribbleisms, you know, just little circles like this. We go over that line, and we just do one at a time. One little area at a time. Now please, if you're joining in with me, just pause. If I'm getting too far, just pause. You've got to remember, these lessons take me, in my classes, this is an hour and a half. Now this is probably going to be, you know, like 30 minutes. So if you're getting too far ahead, just pause. And we just go around, just quite tight circular. Alright, just not too dark, just lightly. Yeah. Now we'll move on to the next one. Now where we come in here, where they're overlapping, we're going to do the same. We're going to go over. What I mean by that is that's going to be a darker area, because that'll mean either this piece here is behind this piece. It just gives it a bit of depth. There we go, just round like that. Very relaxing. I find it very relaxing. And I might just do this middle one now. And I'm using an A5, my A5 visual diary for this. So just keep it nice and small. They're really little exercises, these tutorials, and you know they're in your visual diary, so they're just sketches. They're not full drawings or anything. Just for practice, not for perfection. Darker there, we're overlapping. Alright, and then we go down here, just like that. So we just get this all we're just sort of blocking it in, you know. And of course this is a generic bush, it's just something in my head that I'm making up as I'm going, because if you were to draw you know, a bush or something in your backyard, well then you'd look at the actual how that bush is. But this is how you would go about it. It might be a different shape. There might be a branch coming through here. I mean, we can do that. We can take bits out. That's the beauty of graphite. All right, so then basically that's our shape. We'll just put the branch in here, the tree trunk, or whatever you want to call it there, and just come down just a little bit below that ground line. Okay. Now, what I like to do is to come out of it, you know, just because that's what they're like. You know, they're not perfectly symmetrical or anything. Bushes and that, are they? You know, you've got branches sticking out. They just go however they want to go. So just to make it a little bit more realistic, I'm just gonna just like this. Look, little. Just coming out a bit like that. It just gives the illusion or the impression of leaves and what have you. And then over here, I'll just get down here. There's a bit of tissue here so I don't smudge too much and get it all over my hands. And then what happens, of course, you end up putting it over everything. One of the things that I notice is that I try to remember to do as well is before I start each drawing or sketch, is I like to get my, especially when you're using rulers, and mainly when you're using rulers, but I'll get my wet wipes and clean it all off to start with, because otherwise you find that you do get marks in here and they you don't notice it at the time. So it pays to keep everything nice and clean and tidy. Okay, so now we've got our basic outline of our tree, and we've got some leaves and foliage in there, and so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my blue tack just to come in and just take a few little sort of highlights out, just like that. Now what you do also, another thing which I find very helpful is when I'm looking at, especially with graphite paintings, when I'm looking at them, or drawings I mean, not paintings, graphite, is to sort of squint. If you squint, what happens when you squint your eyes, you'll find that it takes away the detail, so you're just seeing the darks and the lights, and that really does help to work out where you're going to put them. And now I'm just going to go in here with my blending brush, just to gently soften all these up. Not too much, not too much. See, we've got all the little outlines that we want. And now I'm going to go in now with my darker pencil, with my 4B. Now, if you haven't got a 4B, you know, look at getting a set of pencils. You can get 12 pencils. You know, I mean, they're not expensive. 6 pencils, different degrees of tone. The B, obviously, the B is a darker one. 4B is black, and you get H's which are harder. It's just how they're put together. So anyway, now I'm going to go in here with my 4B. And we're just going to go in just very lightly, because it's quite a dark pencil. And we're just going to put some more little scribbleisms in there, or squiggleisms. Not sure what they are really. Let's say scribbleisms, because that's what you're doing. You're just sort of scribbling. But it's just giving the impression of leaves. So you're not actually drawing each individual leaf, you're just giving the impression. Alright, hey, you just go in here. So you're not doing as much as what we did to start with. Because you've already laid all that down. We're working in layers. So we've got the first layer, then we've gone over and blended it. Gone gone over with our blue tack, taking a few highlights out. We'll put a few highlights in by taking out the graphite, and then we've gone in and blended it, and you see the sort of the effect we're getting here. Now what I'm going to do again is just go back in again and just take a few more, put in a few more highlights. And we just go like, say, let's say for example the light source is coming from this way. So obviously this side is going to be lighter than that side. Just a little bit. We don't want to go extreme. Okay, and now we're just going to go and just gently go in here. It's going to be a little bit darker in the middle there. And down the bottom there. And just squint, like I said, just squint your eyes, and it'll make a bit more sense. It'll make it easier to sort of put where you want to put your darks and that in. And you don't want to do much more than this. This is about pretty close to where we're going to be. Okay. Just brush a bit of that away. Alright, now we're going to leave that for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of background in here, just to make it a bit more interesting. So, what I'm thinking we'll do is we're going to put a little rail fence. You know, we've done all this before. So you can either use your ruler or just do freehand. It's entirely up to you. And do another one here. Remember, this is just a little bush. Generic bush. And how far have we gone up? We've gone up, well, we'll go 7. Same as usual, about 7. Just roughly. Yeah. Like that. Like that. And we'll put in some rails. Just come down about 5 mil, I suppose. Just lightly. And there. That. Another one there. And then I'll do the bottom one first so that it goes behind the tree, don't forget. And about there. Oops, we didn't have to go that far. I don't know why I went there for, but anyway, we'll just take that out. Not paying attention probably. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is, and we've done this before, so we're just going to go in here, put this in. This is a just give the post a bit more, the fence a little bit more realistic. And once again, these don't have to be perfect either. They're not, as I say, they're all cut. They were just cut on the farm. They weren't bought from the shop or anything like that. So they're never going to be the same. That's what I love about rustic and old rustic things, and the reason, of course, that I call my work rusticated art, because that's the style I love. Alright, now, once again, we're just going to go over this. If you've done it with a ruler, we're just going to go over that ruled line, because we don't want to see, you know, perfectly straight lines, which the ruler produces. So we're just going to go like that. A little bit of a wobble here and there. Same on this side. Alright, and then across the, oh, I've already done that one. Look, there's an interesting little thing going on there. Okay. Now, I'll start from here. If you're right-handed, you'll be starting from this side. But me being left-handed, I start from this side and work back. Well, I try to remember to. Quite often I'll start from this side and then I keep smudging everything. So, but anyway, just going to go in here and just as we've done in the past. I might actually just use a different pencil for that. I might use, it's an HB, but I'm going to use my my wooden one because I want to get this a bit flatter. You know, it just covers the area a lot more quicker. The mechanical pencils are great for doing more detail stuff because it's got a sharper point. You can only use the point, whereas with the wood ones, at least you can hold them on its side and it just blocks in things a lot quicker. Okay, and then remembering, of course, to make it a little bit darker on the sides, just to give the impression that it's rounded. It gives it a bit of depth. Alright, that's enough for that one. Then we'll move over here, do the same. A little bit darker in there. Down here. See, I've gone a little bit over the edge there. That doesn't matter. We can come back to that. That's actually a little bit dark, that line. It shouldn't be as dark as that. So normally what happens is you've got to make, because we don't want to see lines. There's no lines. There's edges. There's no lines in nature or things like that, because we only have lines because that's how we draw. But really, they are the edges, you know, things come to an edge or to an end, so there's an edge. So we sort of use a line to do it, but if we just blend things in so the edge is not so, or the line is not so prominent, and we just go like that. Just to, if you've been following along in my series, you'll sort of be up to date with this. If this is your first one you've watched, I suggest you go back and have a look at them, because I talk about these sort of things in a bit more depth, and I don't want to risk to bore you all by going over saying the same things over and over again. And just take that out. Just tidy it up as you go. Yeah. Now we'll turn it around. Remember, we're sort of just blocking things in at the moment, and we'll come back and put some detail in. Oh, that's right, better go along there first. Try and just do in one continuous line. And out. Yeah, these are a lot of fun. I mean, last Saturday I was at my sister's place, and we're all sitting around and chatting away there, and I said, "Do you want to have a look at my video on the YouTube?" Because they got a smart TV, and I said, "Oh yeah." So we turned it on, and it looks a bit different on the big screen. But anyway, and there was 5 of us all together there. We all pulled out and got some paper and that, and some pencils, and they just had the real basics. And yeah, and we sat there and went through the whole video. Look, it went for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. But everyone really enjoyed it, and it's surprising just how, like a couple of them have never drawn before. My niece's husband, Kieran, he hadn't drawn anything before. He did a bloody good job. Excuse my French there, but I was really surprised, and it was a really neat evening actually. And everyone was happy. We were all laughing away there, and we just had to pause it every now and again. Okay, now. Just brush that away. Now we're going to go in. I might as well stay with that since I'm using it. And like I say, you'll see the little bits of in here that are going to create the texture that we're going to use in here. Look. And yours won't be the same as this, but they'll still be in there. There'll be something there. And that's what we use. We use that just to create the grain, which gives it, the texture. And yeah, no, we had a great night. So I'd encourage you to do that. Just sit there, and if you've got a smart TV, well, you can do it on the computer, but I mean, a smart TV so everyone can see it. You have to make someone in charge of the remote so that they push the pause button. Yeah, I highly recommend it. A new form of home entertainment. Just take that out. Just clean up as we go, like I say. It just makes it easier. Okay. Now I'm just going to have a little blend. See where we've got the textures and that there. Just soften it up. Look. Look at that. You can go in there and do a bit more if you wanted to, or it's entirely up to you. It's like everything, you can put as much as you want into your drawings or as little as you want. Or you can come back to it later on. It's a little bit darker in there usually. Alright, now we're going to move on to the next one. And there's a nice little line going down there, and there's one going down there. Another one there. And it's sort of got some lines going like that. A little knot type thing going on there. Yeah, look at that. Love it. It's practically doing it for you. You just got to hold the pencil and guide it. Hey, that's how easy it is, really. Really it is. Don't stress about it. Just enjoy it, and when you stop and look at it, wow, did I do that? That's what it's about. I noticed that with the little lesson we had the other night with my sister, People get amazed, especially if you haven't done much drawing before. And of course, I want everybody to be able to sit down and draw. It's such a relaxing thing to do. It's a life changer. It certainly changed my life, my attitude, my way of thinking, just from getting into drawing and that. A little bit darker on the bottom. The light source always is coming from the top or from the sides, never from the ground. And just use your imagination, you'll see. But if you can't see, just pretend. And we're just going to blend that in, just softly, soften it up. Now you probably find that where the bush is, I'm going to use my darker pencil again, but where the bush is around here, just to give it a little bit more realism, or make it a little bit more realistic, I'm just going to darken it up around here, so that's going to create a sort of a shadow. Okay, so I like to tilt my work and go with the flow. I find it's easier, like if I try and do that, it's too much of an effort. But if I go like this, it just feels just quite, it just sort of flows. It's a lot more natural. So just going to darken it up a little bit there, and down here. and along there a bit. Right. Okay, and then I'll just soften that up a little bit. Just, you don't have to put that in if you don't want to. Okay. Well, basically that's the bush. You know, that's the bush and the tree and the bush and the fence. Sorry, and you know, you can stop there if you wanted to. We'll just put a bit of ground in here. So you notice with the darker pencils they can be very, very grainy, especially on this type of paper that I'm using. Well, I think it's 110. Where are we? Oh yes, 110 GSM. And it's quite a sort of like a soft sort of a paper. It's not a shiny paper. So this, yeah, see how the graphite's coming off? So I'm just gently, it's sort of coming down like, yeah, like water. It's flowing. So that just creates a lovely soft but it's messy. It gets everywhere if you don't try and sort of contain it a bit. Now I'm just going to go and just see, because of that, see how it's, if you look closely you'll see. And just take it all that out. Rub it off. And there you go. That's the basic little bush. Just put a little bit more in here. And that's the beauty, that's what I keep saying to people, you know, you just, when you're having to walk away, don't overdo it, and then come back and you'll see things again a little bit differently, and you go, oh yes, and then you go in and you do a little bit more. It's building up the layers. It took me a long time to understand that, about layers, but that's what they are, they're layers. You're laying down the graphite. If you wanted to, you could put, let's just say we want to have a little, where that branch is there, we could just take a little bit out like that and put a branch in there. We might decide we want one there, so we just like that, and then it might be oops, dropped me eraser, just like that, and then hang on, oh, I just got to grab me eraser, it's on the ground there, and then there could be, and you just do this very subtly, you don't want to overdo it. So there might be just a main one there, and that there, and that would be all you'd do. Just fill that in. Yeah, just like that. Just darken this up a bit. And then you just have it like that. Soften that up a bit. Now I'm going to take a little bit out of that because it's you'll find that with graphite, especially if you're using the darker pencils, it can very easily become a bit sort of smudgy. But when it's like that, you just go in with your blue tack or your kneadable eraser, and you just take it out a bit like that, and then you look at it with your squinty eyes. And that really does help. Now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I don't want that in there. Maybe we might just go over that there. It's up to you. You can change it. We'll make them just sort of a bit not so standing out so much, not so obvious. Just go in there like that. And I might just go here with me. And that gives it a whole new looking texture. Just take a bit of that black out. Probably didn't need to use the 4B on such a little drawing, but a little sketch. But anyway, it's done now. So there you are. That's a very basic looking bush. Just had to lay down a bit of foliage, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe. So thanks very much for watching.